All right, let's get some updates on the Texas shooting yesterday. The 18 students and 3 teachers lost their lives yesterday, shall we? We'll start with this one
Let's
right
get more
here.
about the investigation, including new details about the gunman and the safe security measures in the Uvalde School District. Our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, is outside the gunman's home. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Michael. That rampage began in that house just behind me. The suspect allegedly shooting his grandmother first. Now, law enforcement officials tell me that the suspect purchased both of those AR-style rifles just 2 days before the shooting legally. The investigation now focusing on whether he had accomplices and whether this was pre-planned in any ways and how the suspect managed to slip through all of the guardrails in place in this community meant to stop an attack just like this. This morning, authorities telling ABC News the shooter legally purchased 2 AR variant long guns within a week of his 18th birthday.
What happened in Uvalde is a horrific tragedy that cannot be tolerated in the state of Texas.
His classmates at Uvalde High School telling ABC News the suspect was known for fighting and threatening classmates. Nathan Romo, who had witnessed part of the shooting, had once been friends with him. What did you do to prompt him to say, "I'll kill you"?
Nothing. I used to be his friend, but then I told him that I wasn't gonna start being his friend no more because he was being weird with not only me but a lot of other people.
Several classmates telling us the suspect rarely went to school, and when he did, he sometimes frightened students like Ureli Vasquez.
Wow.
He had scars on his face, and I remember somebody asking him, what happened? Are you okay? Because he showed up to school with them, and he just straight out told them, with a smile, I did it myself because I like how it looks.
Vasquez had also worked with him at a restaurant. Now, investigators working to determine how and when the gunman assembled his arsenal, which included AR-15s, body armor, and numerous magazines.
So what we do know, when he did make entry into the school and he was shooting children and adults and teachers, we did have several police officers that made entry and actually were met with gunfire by the suspect.
Authorities saying he shot his grandmother before he headed to Robb Elementary School and unleashed that deadly assault. That school, part of a district with robust security measures in place, including lockdown protocols, threat assessment teams, and a digital program to monitor social media threats. But the shooter allegedly leaving a trail of disturbing social media posts, hinting at an attack. Investigators now poring over the gunman's accounts, where he reportedly sent videos and photos of guns to other users, even images of animal abuse.
Jesus.
As recently as Tuesday morning, an Instagram account believed to be connected to the shooter sending a photo of a gun laying on a bed to another user. Law enforcement also reviewing screenshots of messages the suspect allegedly sent a different Instagram user, tagging them in an image of firearms. And then the day before the shooting, the gunman also reportedly saying on the platform Yubo, "Wait till tomorrow." Now a community searching for answers. And I just spoke with the suspect's grandfather, who said he had no idea his grandson had those guns in the house. The grandfather saying he's a felon, so it's illegal for him to have those weapons in. If he had known it, he would have turned him in. He also says his grandson didn't have a license to drive, couldn't drive, and he wonders who took him to purchase those weapons and whether he was able even to practice on them. Robin.
Many of us are wondering that. All right, Matt, thank you. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here.
We'll get some more. Give me a second. Okay, here we go.
As we asked this question this morning, how do you wrap your head around the tragic reality for these Uvalde parents? You send your kids off to school and you never see them again.
Well, this morning, families are starting to come forward with their last memories of some of those victims.
Adriana D'Alba is in Uvalde, and it is not just the relatives, this entire community shaken from the shooting.
It is, and it's a small, tight-knit community, so they're really feeling this pain. And we are at the Civic Center where families gathered and waited for hours, anxiously waiting to find out if their children were safe. Right now, the community and several family members are still waiting on information on their children at this point. But we know that in all, 19 kids and 2 teachers at Robb Elementary School were killed, with police say an 18-year-old carried out the deadliest school shooting in Texas history. He was a student at Uvalde High School.
Second worst shooting,
says responding
right behind
officers
Sandy Hook.
shot and killed him. And this morning, we're finally able to put faces to some of the victims. Mary Jo Garza was in 4th grade. Her dad tells us She just turned 10 2 weeks ago. Xavier Lopez was also a fourth grader. His cousin tells us Xavier's mom was at his award ceremony just an hour or two before the shooting, not knowing it would be the last time she saw him. Annabelle Guadalupe Rodriguez was in third grade. Her family says she was in the same classroom as her cousin, who was also killed. And the grandfather of 8-year-old Uzia Garcia says his grandson was among those killed. These photos were taken in March while on spring break. And Eva Mireles has been identified as one of the 2 teachers who died. She was a mother and a wife and had been with the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District for 17 years. Classes are canceled. All school activities are canceled for the rest of the school year, but we know that grief counselors are being brought in today to help students, teachers, and staff try to process this unimaginable loss.
This gunman is dead, but have they shared anything yet about why he did it?
Hey, Mark. Well, investigators say that he posted photos on social media, including a photo of the 2 guns that he used during the shooting. Right now, investigators are looking at whether he hinted or dropped any message about the shooting in the days leading up to it. But as of right now, no motive from investigators. And we know that they're going to start doing things like reaching out to family members, serving arrest warrants. And they're also going to trace the guns that he used in the shooting. So it's all still unfolding, Mark, right before our eyes.
All right, Adriana, we know it's been a difficult night and morning. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Parents, if you have a student headed to school today, maybe this will help you and your students feel better. Several local districts are ramping up security for the rest of the year following the shooting in Uvalde. In addition to school resource officers, North Texas police departments have put out statements saying they'll have a greater presence on school camp.
I got one more coming up. Okay, last one here.
And Elena, such a difficult morning for so many across the nation. Now, the children were looking forward to summer break and counting down the days to the last day of school. Now, condolences are pouring in from across the nation and really around the world. The Archbishop of San Antonio held a mass to honor the victims and their families. He says there are brothers and sisters who need help this morning and much prayer, as the shooting was the deadliest at a grade school since the tragedy at Sandy Hook Elementary almost a decade ago. Now, 19 children and 2 teachers were killed in the Uvalde, Texas mass shooting. Their superintendent saying that he cannot believe
Philemon goes around to Sandy Hook
right
is
now
it
in
was
their
fake
Texas
and it was a
Latino
hoax and stuff like
community.
that.
Traumatized
You watch.
parents had
He's gonna
to
go around
wait
his
for
butt buddies and
hours,
say,
forced
"Oh,
to
this
stay
is fake.
outside of Robb
This is
Elementary
this is
School, holding
stage
each
and
other,
act."
awaiting word on the children. Now, the bodies
know
of the
Philemon would
victims
do
were
that.
kept inside the school as part
He's
of
already
the
sitting there saying the
ongoing
Buffalo
investigation,
massacre was
only
fake.
adding anguish to the families there. Officials started to identify the mass shooting victims. Devastating to see their families as we learn more about those children and the teachers. The first was 4th grade teacher Eva Mireles. You see there, the wife of a police officer and a mother. She was a running enthusiast and part of the school
There's 2 of
district
the
for
teachers.
17 years. Also confirmed teacher Irma Garcia, who was married with 4 children. All of the other victims inside the school believed to be 4th graders, only 10 and 11 years old, including 10-year-olds Xavier Lopez and Avia Bravo. 13 children were rushed to their local memorial hospital. Other victims were taken about 80 miles away to the closest trauma center located in San Antonio. A neighbor can't even imagine the pain that the families are going through, as well as some parents who were just waiting to see what was going on with their children.
They're looking for their sons and stuff, and it's pretty sad. It hurts.
Well, as you take a look at your screen, these are the names of 10 victims who were allegedly killed, according to
Here we go.
social media
Here's some of the
posts from
victims'
their family
names.
members. They're Mary Jo Garza, 10 years old, Ellie Garcia, Hyla Nicole Silguero, 11 years old, Jace Carmelo Levanos, 10 years old as well, Uzia Garcia, 10 years old, Rogelio Torres, 10, Lexi Rubio, Jacqueline Cazares, and Alejandra Torres Tess Mata. Well, teachers in Uvalde are gathering right now this morning outside of a civic center, remembering the victims. You see the front doors there as some of them are starting to stream in. They're coming together during this unthinkable crisis. Now, this tragedy is unfortunately the deadliest school shooting in Texas history. In the News Center, Gene Kane.
Yep. crazy, unreal. Like I said, fellow mom's gonna say, "Oh, this is fake news. Oh, the state actors, or it's just for clicks and views." Yeah, right. F you, fellow mom. With that said, I'm out of here. My job. Much love, prayers, blessings, and all that good stuff.